Good morning, everyone. Today's lesson is about simplifying radicals, and the focus will be on the square root. Before I give you the examples, I have five here. I just want you to look at this table and be familiarized yourself with these numbers. So these numbers are what we call perfect square numbers because the square root of 1 is 1, the square root of 4 is 2, the square root of 9 is 3, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason why I'm telling you that you need to be familiarized with this because in simplifying radicals, we will factor out a given number. So if we want to factor out a given number, we need to find the largest or the greatest number factor or perfect square factor of that number. All right. So I'm gonna go over and show you this later on while I'm giving you the example. So let's go to the first one. Let's answer square root of 20. So like what I said earlier, we need to find the greatest perfect square factor of 20. So we have the list here. The first column is usually the numbers that we will use. Sometimes we use one of the numbers in the second, sometimes the third. So guess what? What's the greatest perfect square factor of 20? The first problem here. All right, that is right. It's 4. 4 times 5 equals 20, right? So that means I can write this as square root of 4 times the square root of 5. And we all know that the square root of 4 is what? It's 2. So this is 2 square root of 5. That's the answer. Easy, right? Now let's try the next one, 252. So think about find the greatest perfect square factor of 252. I'm gonna give you maybe 5 seconds. Okay, that is right. It's 36. So this is equal to the square root of 36 times the square root of 7, right? Because 36 times 7 is 252. And we all know that the square root of 36 is equal to 6. So this is 6 square root of 7. So if you notice, this involves only 2 steps. Ideally speaking, yes. But I'm going to give you an example later on. What if you were not able to find that greatest perfect square factor? I will show you. But for the meantime, let's try to find the largest or the greatest perfect square factor of a given number. Let's try the third one, 605. 605. What is the largest or the greatest perfect square factor of 605? All right, it's here in the second column, 121. So this is equivalent to 121 times the square root of 5. And 121 is square root of that is equal to 11. So it's here, right? So the answer is 11 square root of 5. 720. Okay, maybe maybe 10 seconds to find the factor of the greatest perfect square factor of 720. All right, that is right. It's 144. So this is equivalent to 144 times the square root of 5 again. So square root of 144 is 12, and then square root of 5. Square root of 5 is in decimal, so we keep that. All right. So ideally speaking, this involves only 2 steps. But what if we're not able to find the greatest perfect square factor? What will happen and what are we going to do? So that's the last example. So let's say here, again, the objective is to find the greatest perfect square factor. But what if, let's say, oh, I was not able to do that. I tried 4 and it works. Well, technically it will work, but let's try to divide or to find the other factor aside from 4. So 4 times what equals 448. So let's say use 4 here, right? So 448 divided by 4 is equal to 112. So this is going to be square root of 4 times square root of 112. So square root of 4, as we all know, is positive 2, and then square root of 112. Now, 112, I think still is not, it's not a prime number, so we still need to find a factor of 112 that is a perfect square. All right, and let's say you said, oh, I think 4 again. You might think that, right? 4 again. Let's try 4 again. Okay. So this is equal to 2 times the square root of 4 times the square root of what? 28. Okay. And as we all know, square root of 4 is positive 2. So square root of 28 is, I think there's another, perfect square factor at 28. And that is, that is correct. It's 4. So I'm going to write square root of 4 times square root of, excuse me, 7. So this is 4 times the square root of 4, which is 2, and then square root of 7. 4 times 2 is equal to 8 times the square root of 7. So this involves a lot of steps, right? Now, we want to avoid this. Now, in order for us to avoid this is we need to, use our calculator, maybe to check which one is the greatest perfect square factor of 448. And actually, it is what? What do you think? I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about that. All right, it's 64. So this square root of 448 is actually equivalent to 64 times 7, or square root of 64 times square root of 7. And then we all know that square root of 64 is 8, and then square root of 7. All right? So we want this to happen. And in order for us to avoid this situation is, on the onset, we need to find the greatest perfect square factor of a given number. All right, thank you for watching. I hope you learned something from this lesson, and please do subscribe to my channel. Have a nice day.